Awurade shima me adam asese munya betwe me akoto nkra ya beye bedwafo aye krado ne se me di kankan no ani ntini nan na beka me ho ofie ha ye bedi nkomo afa sa ansemu ya kwakoba se press before wonwum bi o se me de nareka beto mano na mafa mano anka boni bi woni mutoto ofie mi no se bedwafo so ni muto ene ye beto ansa ne yasore ye beti kwa ofie ansa na yasore enti eye bibia hu hia se tumi de hu komo na abrada me kasa no me kan sem bi emra bebre wo ho ana bre nya e fa hu de wieye no sa mra na e wo ho no emra no na ese de ehye epono ase ye hye de hu nanim enti ye di chim nkrofo se enti obi ahu se de siti enti na ye buhye wo ho pa bedru baby no obi se na aye coded wo hu wo hye de hu ne ni so ne ban papa enti wo ye ya na hwem ye de wo sen but edu baby na ese ne masitumi sisa enti 2001 man penda da je ku for ban abreso no and as a criminal libel law no and I feel some kind of what's it I think seditious law yes and so we free ho and so we she bi a act 2001 am kakra no man penny dada ku for ban abreso no be criminal libel law ni free ho ne emre bi ne some powers bi a executive powers na man penny won ma hudo bi no yeyi makoma no mienu mensa bi fi ho sa tumi boa se na be ya abema ma na tumi akonanim enti siasi ye di akire a na se tumi di akire ne ye practice said ye practice no awa mansa nyina your criminal aspect and your civil aspect enti the criminal and civil no ye criminal na free ho amana ka civil enti civil no what a dear pa na civil no mu ye betwe ho kwa akire ye pa amahudo musu democracy anu ntie ensu abi sa amahudo we no criminal na da so ana se niri ho criminal na civil ni nyina ho ana so moye criminal na afio na ka civil no nko a ana se ni mienu no ye adwuma ye bedi hu kombo papa na me de se ne yenya lawyer ni ba ko a wono America no o practicing law no na wo menche wa ha enti ne ye be ko USA straight na yene na di nkomo nso otimi nchen na ebra wo practice wo America nyina na obaga na so na sabe practice openini mo din pa Owura Eric Ochirida ko lawyer ni na ye ka US immigration a wo pese okwaji visa huno obechi okwan be fa so he emra we na ho emra we so apply for visa say bese me ko New York
but in opening
bese me ko New York
o be badodo
me da se pa akwa ba miura
yeah eja
me da se onya brema na anopai mfanche me na wo hwe me benkum so a akirichiri ho no a on de etane ni tenafia pa ya sompa ofidu ankwanta enti na tromo ne de hye konkron ano no o lawyer ni usi o ye law no o Ghana hankasa okokot enye lawyer for na okokot ni bi no okokot no wa ben so sikasam tutu mu pa ya sompa e wa ha ya akwaba
eja me da se
bibia boko
yesu adom eja ya se
share bi wampa ana fei ye wo Owura Joseph Bawa wa ben wa manyosem nti o kire amanyosem ewo University of Ghana wa ben pa na young man wa to be kire political or wa ben ai wa ben so me yan ko tumi ko kire political science ewo University of Ghana obi fo akwaba
me da se
bibia woko
nyamiadom
wonderful
nyamiadom
NFA bibenkum so pe me sheda na bi ni twato wono ana sanctuary o manga na mu nyina o ye dwam tinani GJ president the one and only Owura Afel Money the caprice do am pay me money house so president as we speak
do the small p
small p oh would that why oh yeah we are mama big p and I'm I'm for my kwaba with the most seven year bremen na no pay it also share about me the comment of social media handles ahodo ni nyina na fe ye ni komo ni hwe se ye ne danti ene ye nkomodie no aye se publication of false news eno any criminal libel no ni mienu sunsun be ne wom ɛno nkomo na ebedi ne ɛno nko ayɛ fa bibi anka ho bio enti ba me hyɛ sɛm firi so yewura ɔkyerɛdako wo na wo America wo na practice ɛwɔ hɔ democracy na America ɛna ɛyɛ democracy fapem a yesu hwɛ bibi de afiri ɔmo nkyɛn yɛka freedom of speech a America ma mu hu ne sɛn ɛwɔ hɔ
your opinion at here for say I can freedom of speech in America no you who say American Constitution a guarantee say obia wo kwan say obekire na dwen ewo issues bia ho but at the same time no baby a obekire wadwen could do baby a all right under the Constitution ewo America no be do no baby a wo die do no obi nso de ehyasie efi ho enti say o ma o practice freedom of speech o ka nia constitution ama ho kwan say wo tumi say obe ka no wa kai so ehun say constitution no so ama obi nso foforo nso ono nso ni tumi enti wo ka wo de no emfa wo de no nsɛsɛ ono nso ni tumi no ho unless say o good reason a obetumi a justify. Now, America, freedom of speech practice na pass in your woman most of the time. So, by say, uko ebro ni amrano ma who kwan say obekwe dua. There were both criminal penalties a few times, and there were majority civil penalties. Now, America, no why say maybe to say hate speech. You identify say so because say you bruni. Abi before any nyansa ebi ho no mo a otumi akọ attack sabi bi obi sexual orientation enti ebi oni akono ye gay o mpenasem say o ye gay oni akono kwa sorry ko Catholic o mpe Catholic for asem enti ko attack won say ebasa say o commit crime bi ampo na say hate eka ho a punishment no eye double essence any anka hate enka ho nti as much as say o kasa a practice freedom of speech so make sure say enko tetia nkrofo foforo nso ho efa with ho punishment no say na me kan you both criminal punishment under federal law your criminal punishment under state law and some was civil punishment state no be brave or why punish you even under civil law and sana yako criminal law
the same offense
it go on punishable by a fine no sika obetua as additional punishment for infringement na occur other people and if I say bia police for in general police for no be to me attack before na boni akobemu na ebimpo owu na epra akobemu so court no decide one punish police and as official criminal punishment at the same time you sign emma won tuasika in fact the whole police organization crampo the city or the state kuna happen you betumi am punishment to pay because when to me and training mo police for any year am when have on be protect other minority rights.
And na wo kan na ye twen adwen dey one example George Floyd dey yesi
sa pepe
and no ye nyanete ye say owura na ye say odi bone no ye jailing about 40 years
sa pepe
and santi anu achi no almost sign fine on one kasa sign fine the state police no
I says yes into that thing bia no nisika obenya crampo in future crampo no e be go towards paying for the actions even though we pay under criminal law. Anyway, double jeopardy issue doesn't even come in here. We're infringing on a civil right as part of doing the police work. I mean, separate. Inti kakrabe can say, you can't say freedom of speech now. And my 100% fiat say, ko nako kanya upe bia wa kumaso. There were limitations to nia ubetumiaka. Maybe I can one more example. In 2012. Obi publish news say bomb a blow ama Obama Epra. Or publish it on Facebook. Within less than 20 minutes, na stock market I start air crash. Sika America for lose just on that short year who say nyano was $103 billion. So okay say obia wo kwan so be kan your pay any media. Just such small statement be making you know within the shortest time. Answer na be refute you know. Na damage across so 103 billion. You decide we bagana. Nka your economy no nka e collapse. Yes, inti enye bibia na emra no ema ho kwan se ubetumi aka limitations.
Wow, inti ne che se sa de ko publishers sa se Obama me kai sa se no pa. Se etu bombo atoma na ewu. Ono say no se ye chi na anase ye fa no se ya chi no. Wono no charges ben ye de be bo no publishing of then
in fact American Federal Court Title 18 reference subsection no emra against publication of false news ebe cause injuries to the public. This was financial injury. I mean say by now one fix it problem we say been checking here the current state but it's like anything will be very ringy between publishers say there's a bomb at a certain place. Oh, I'm but your financial nyano cry, you face criminal charges, both under state law and under federal law. And it's only pan on finding who need try say why or cocoke what publishing now consequences. So the back and name remo dear 1 January 6, 2021 on call demonstrating Capitol Hill. One cause with damage no. The FBI edit one social media profile any publication and I track one down. Near one kick with social media so no any statement I want cano. FBI afraid be brave. I interview one. I'm a be brave stand trial for what they put on social media.
Ye baba sansa no se sansa me hwe demonstration course so mo ko bro mo ko dia wo kan yesi so mo ko yo ko parliament house ye kan sansa na Ghana for better say wo ye course na se fori nyina me follow pa be pum sabre na me so e di echi sansa me ba so echi na me ko ya so mpa so ya na me mi sa say se ye bo man Ghana ma so na waka ne dia wi ye mra Ghana mu ne hwe say ye ka say publication of false news
anything. Agya, me da say mabie mra ne mu nti senia me no I for the purposes of yete for nti me pese me kan na ma kyerem e wo twi no nti section 208 of the criminal code there's any person who publishes and the element of the crime is important. Into one, any person who publishes or reproduces any statement, rumor, or report which is likely to cause fear and alarm to the public or to disturb the peace, knowing or having reason to believe that the statement, rumor, or report is false, is guilty of a misdemeanor. You publish it or you reproduce. In TBI Jacob now I say publish the original statement, you know, and I reproduce it and me find and me share my be. Into the first element, they publishes or you reproduce any statement, rumor, into rumor say rumor cry atism. And I say you make a statement or a report. Say me find say my report. The second one no into publication near first element. Second element no is likely to cause into yes I cause you is likely to cause fear, alarm to the public. Into second element near is likely to cause fear or alarm to the public. Into yenina no or mind no publication now why no and I say statement now I'm making and I'm reproducing no is likely to cause fear or alarm. And the third one is that statement is false. That statement is false. To cause alarm, no, it goes on to say public peace. It will disturb the public peace. when you have no reason to believe or you knew that the statement was false. Into that's it. First, my publish it. Second one is likely to disturb the public peace. The third one is a statement near false. Into Sanya Mamiansa way enya share mrane se mato. Two no because it is no defense in one if I did not take steps. Let me read the English. It is no defense to a charge under subsection 1 that the person charged did not know or did not have reason to believe that the statement, rumor, or report was false unless he proves that prior to the publication he took reasonable measures to verify the accuracy of the statement. Inti the fact that na minim say enye nokre no emmamu ha de here ni say metimi a che say answer na me publish no say if I wo Agya Kwabena ho a me bebusa o ana I took steps to invest. Inti I need to show.
Okay.
Say I took reasonable measures in verifying the accuracy of the statement. Then I have a defense under subsection 1. Inti this is the text of the law.
Okay.
This is the text of the law. But Mecca Manako said this law a criminal part of a common law tort. And I say Emrano saying most of the laws are colonial vestiges. Sebi Emrofo any English here abayin the demaye. Inti Emrani bebre no every England and I say omo common law practice. Inti in common law practice near our tort sebi civil wrong. Send a mini opinion no. So you will be bonia. He has a remedy in civil court. Inti sebi tort range from all the way personal into trespass, all the way to negligence. Into even nuisance. Say bia uye de dedodo. Nina falls under tort, which is a civil wrong. Some of the tort criminal implications when it disturbs the public peace. Into what I want to do now is just run us through the common law vestiges of the law. Common law now. In the civil side, what is the element of defamation? This is a vestige of it in the criminal side. In common law, no, the tort has 3 elements, 3 parts. You say a liability for misstatement. Kasa, so in common law, you can get nyama miensa. Inti the deceit. Inti udada obia. Fraudulent misrepresentation, or bet me do a civil court, and then seek a tort. But in criminals, you and him say, there are crime on fraud on the criminal side, but on the civil side is deceit. The second one is negligent misstatement. Say, or a lawyer ni, or a journalist, you have a professional duty. In the OKBB, now you are negligent in that contractual obligation now. The person can sue you in a negligent misstatement and then claim damages. The third one is defamation. Into say but the interesting thing about defamation is that there are 2 sides, 2 regimes in Ghana. Into what we call the customary law defamation and the common law defamation. Because common law no buy no na only penny di asama yenim say oka no anka ni ya ubedi for inti customary law defamation no is still recognizable. Inti defamation no e wan krem yenu in customary law no kasa which is slander is recognizable. Inti in common law no your slander and your libel. Slander no ye kasa. Libel ye or say ye kasa because it's in a transfixed medium. Because a radio ni TV so libel would fit in this context. Those say kasa, but the medium is transfixed into a libel. Now the conversation they say because of the evolution of our culture, and I say because of the evolution, no, there are very interesting cases. Obi, for example, catch Obi normal pra no catch ya aqua. You know, it went to court And then the usage of akwa was deemed as defamatory. Absolutely. That means what defaming me.
Okay.
You know, so that was known as defamatory. There is a very interesting case I know that some lawyers love, which is Wenchiwa and Redua. Sebi imam yenu na eko na bako ekacha bako sebi o sebi wa se bon. Eno entokwa na chi o see you no court. Say that defames a person. The court upheld on the first instance a lot, but Omuko appeal. It was known that statement was defamatory. And to the point I'm trying to make, they said, in our cultural context, our customary law, no, defamation takes a different turn. Not almost always like the common law. Because some things that are known in customary law as defamation,
common law, no more.
It may not, absolutely.
Okay.
Into your head civil side, no, the back criminal, no more. The question is, how then do we interpret a practice of defamation on the side of a criminal side? Yembu the constitutional civil liberties of persons. Because in Yanyama Mremono, Sabi Yembu obi hufi. Yen kaso obi anim embunanim inti that's been our culture, Yebunipa. Sabi I can for because obeso di watem kwa because mpacho say. No, they are so. Inti because the culture is so built on respect and mutuality, say yenyina yebom no. How then do you guarantee say obia betimi aka bi without trespassing the fact that yenyina no ye kabi no obi be ka manatra obi be di obi atem maybe mi si kwan mu moto weche mi si kwan ma weche mi si kwan ni masa o ya aboa wati ka o de ka se ma ya moa de na ba me aboa de unia nti me kama na kosi se obi a no betra obi but insult per se enye crime per se. 207 says offensive to the conduct of breach of peace use insulting words, but even in 207 where insulting words may be seen as a crime, you are only guilty when it threatens the public peace.
Okay.
Inti the American Manakosini say defamation, it only becomes a crime when there's a public nature. Ukasa no efum yenyina. It threatens the peace of yenyina. That is the only way in kasa no etimi be crime under law. And the elements of the law are very clear. In distinguishing and I say yet in terminal. Yen say in kasa and the repeal of the criminal libel is to say in kasa intimi cannot originate in a crime. So be kasa when you attempt cry and a crime or a remedy our civil court inti kosiuno under defamation and as a kosiuno under deceit and whatever you find in criminal law. But the architecture of the state, because wanyama bebre as a state inti nya fe na ye be hwehwe se bi de obi aka ede chicho unless it has a public nature. But even it takes the public nature na nyama mienu here falsity. And then the second one, fault. Fault, malice. And I say you're dealing with negligence that disturbs the public peace. Inti, emano ewoho. Emano na macheche muno.
Inti say a publication of false news, and then what kind of crack? Yamamre de ye say Ghana for ye de no hansa ko si bruni de eba. Ni mienu nyina na ka bomu na wa chechire mu tintintin ayeyi. Okay.
And sorry, answer na be question no. Person me go to America for so emra ewo near Ghana for atrocities here.
Okay.
Me can say a title 18 but man to me amount the full and to maminka.
Okay.
Na mo den mo enfa
to ye no. Okay.
Nti title 18 US Code section 35 imparting or conveying false information. Or say Section A, whoever imparts or conveys or causes to be imparted or conveys false information, knowing the information to be false, concerning an attempt or alleged attempt being made or to be made to do an act which would be a crime prohibited by the chapter or chapter 97 of this title, shall be subject to a civil penalty of not more than $1,000, which shall be recoverable in a civil action brought in the name of the United States.
Right.
Section B. Whoever willfully and maliciously or with reckless disregard for the safety of human life impact or conveys or causes to be impacted or conveyed false information, knowing the information to be false concerning an attempt or alleged attempt being made or to be made to do an act which would be a crime prohibited by this chapter, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both.
Wow. Just
Where
say, who them say some na wo kan ye tro. Now publish here.
Yes.
Wow.
Where a federal code, section 18, title 18, section 35. Obi abi to me akokoshe. Yen to aso.
Me da say, let us say, one day akwa so dem ko mu ehye.
Because they're misdemeanor, which is up to 3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
And I win here 5 years.
Yes.
Okay. One more democracy back, one day so say here. Enti ba wa ma me hwe. Ye kan nyina no ye fam na political field no so ne hwe. Politically. Say ye kasa obi publish false news in political connotation or political aspect, you know. I didn't obi be here be kire say asem onipa e kan. And I say news here be a false news. And I say I bet to me I create some fear and panic and no sabe brofo kakraka da Ghana hey.
Okay, you made us say Agya Kwabena so sha mama nche etifo.
Okay.
Etifo because obu ho no ma sebi o follow program na so ohun ye odna so na editie na omo so a omo so omo hwe enti etifo ne ahwefo nyina na oman no so na yi na pese oman no enko ne nimu nti na ye so ba ha no.
Sure.
Na edu bebia na ye free lecture ho na ya ba ha no. Na yenso ya ba beboa na oman no asundwe na na epe.
Sure.
Say sometimes me ko ejuma na say me fa market na say me hwe amanfo obi a also apampan na dwetweni na day e bia obi a onya 50 series impo na aba fan bi so oti bebi a ono so bre a okuta o force say obeton niam akiti credit
abranti bi o traffic mu o dan so man kwano so wo ba bi oti budi na yibi so
exactly
na oton your friend is saying sa niam PK no mu ne sa niam bibia mi to bi adem kwa hunyam kwa no
aha enti ni bi no enti social sankofo ina ne maame fo mo bra no sade ba ko pa Ghana ye wo ISM bo ho ban no ene asomdwi it's peace so sometimes I catch a man for selections so we say o min ko to aba min ko ese mi se bet on ko to krampo a e asomdwi enti se o mpe aban we anu akoko fa asomdwi kwan so that's one aspect of the beauty of democracy enti membra o question so na dey me the pan say obi oye legal expert our hand into normal the interpretation of what constitutes false news but before me ba ho no me da lawyer say sometimes Ghana hanoma say America you can say America no say America no obi ahun say America is the heaven on earth so person me ko America nti lawyer amaye say bi obeka say America no enjo sa nti hwe o ka bibi krampo kra nti amafo no nyese de no beka to prison no but sika no obetua no because all prison no cry hanom e obi chimben ho efe nti omo ye sika no na be compel na onye de obeye nti na law ni bia no aye ka no nti lawyer wa hanom na afi nti de bia podcast theory aye kire de bia the foundation of law aye kan na law because law ho asema na aye kan mra no aye papa bia yi na anim na efe na Aristotle nti Aristotle no say ya ka say mra law ni na ne de say constitution be ka to say me bra wa hanom say obekọ law school you be training law the philosophy of law then the obekan na enti you can say law no clear anything interests no say reason unaffected by desire say reason unaffected by desire enti ano no dey you can say reason na me fan say hwe na adwin team to say oh yeah ultimate kobia say oh you are not a reasonable person the all kind dey nyansa enim enti me come my broader perspective no say na be man who say there na false and I said there na the truth because the legal interpretation there onye expert untimi enka enti make case on say enti sa law na ye kan na no interest of work say reason affected by desire enti ade a ehye ema ye nipa mene wo separate from because nipa bia ye animal you say higher animal nipa bia ye higher animal nanso emra nti ena ma ye sonko efri sebi we dey kraman adre nentwie if you say Aristotle say nipa no sa wanfa uyi emra efri nipa kwan mu a enipa be aboa a osin nentwie kra eni odwan enti mra no na ye den a guide here because say mra ni okrampo say untimi reason you should be able to reason as a normal human being and be differentiate you from aboa enti mra ade a ehunhia pa enti se ubu emra so a ede ne sunsuaso nyina no ebeba enti me pesa me ma small background with because the waka force with a small aya podcast and the tray ano no say oh can be you have to give a broader perspective na say ne obele foundation na obi atia say say ka seditious law lawyer aka ne de and say about the seditious aspect see the libel because the criminal law and then the seditious law are different and the libel is different from the seditious and honum you remember honum and false publication ene ehun nema yina no okaye sekofo abreso or repeal because na one of his major key campaign message in his manifesto eno reconciliation no so ba omo a yetia omo fa hunde so yina no there will be reconciliation na we forget about the past na move on and a criminal libel law no and a seditious there's criminal libel and seditious law okay so ba obe scrapping na intano kan pa na wo hwa abakosemu no ye hwe the media involvement in the 2000 elections no massive because that time no one say oh we there JJ sebi NDC abre woni nsem kakra from PNDC ya papa wa han mo betimi ama journalists for bro mo bre in contest because that time so regime no JJ so be ka say na oye be boa no because na enye civilian government na ye asrafo no ya asrani aye military intervention or the buy through the gun and na ye bon pa say mpese be CBM enti ni na echi na Rollins any media enko any journalists for na you say they were antagonists no to say omo gbebra media no hu say Rollins na tanfo Rollins so hu say media no say dey na tanfo ntina that frosty relationship no ho sa kosi say afi international community dey any internal pressure domestic amafo abre I hu say afi the economy ni enye ye na ye dwane koto IMF ka say okay ye be ma musika wo be say mbo amode a and the ade ba ko pe na ese monye eno an say ye de amamu no ye be ye fi asrafo nsem na de akwa hye with civilians say civilian rule obi e be to no so aba and also good governance na omo kana na yastic na ka say good governance yastic na omo measure ni na omo benchmarks say obi entimi enkasa say freedom of expression nipa na so entimi enkasa ni na aspect of human rights eni say nipa no on hye ne so ontimi enkasa entini na e kan obi e na afi de ye movie echo 1992 ye drafted 1992 constitution afi Ghana transited from military to civilian rule and also no because not constitution recognize the Offences Act 1960 mebrai no the offenses code the criminal offenses code no 1960 nti anu mum na ne clauses no ana say sections no yebra 208 the 208 na show nti adaso ewo constitution nim nti se beba ho no mpese ye ma brother we nti eba no na ye hu se criminal libel no a ya repele ye no kufo repele ye ene seditious law ina kufo repele ye no adan na saa time no mo hu se constitution no omo ye na se ebia na omu refi na omu refi ana se sen because we ni na foundation ti etwemu a
na fi yehu de be
na yehu de be nti me laser foundation na ye ba na ya
me da say ya kan no ye beba the sa false information you know and publication of false news you know the implication on political activities and politics so ankasanka e wo Ghana ha nti no mama me da say unya bre na yen konkon ma nyina yen ya na ye publish yen ya ti he e do bofo ene sentwerefo yen na ye publish enti memra ye Europe money so na memisa presido say on the president ni small p and big or six big p on pe enti small p na ye de ba yen hwe say yes false information a ye ba journalism ayen central adwuma yi a your code of conduct ye wo mra ne hihya ye de ye adwuma enti ye mra ne hihya ye de ye adwuma efa publication of false news no and do dey way
Mexican chia or telephone on watching now UTV hey juan yesonko intina the 1982 Nobel Peace Prize winner Joseph Gabriel Marquez also the best profession in the world is journalism even though no literature a laureate was in journalism. Let's say Ora Bawa no kind of a Ghana war as a cry or Sumbo pie. It's so priceless. That is the piece. As some Ghana, as some dream man. If you can say rank is away and I say in terms of peace, Ghana #1 in West Africa, the whole Africa is #2. Na imrepi wo hwe nkofo a won ma Ghana wo asomdwi Ghana abadan asomdwi man won fa credit in man the media but me see the P that the media are the #1 contributors to peace in this country because if you number of radio stations there were 500 TV stations speed 8,800 more than 1,800 registered newspapers. But between 30, 40 or regular on the newsstands. Ne it be walesa so ha can we create platforms for people to ventilate their concerns, articulate their views or to be a challenging. On bandama say before be show akumema or no how they just ventilate the concerns. Inti if a Libya send the Libya basasa in the if Iraq wa basasa they didn't have that luxury of freedom. But in Yashomu, and they said Ghana said in the Ghana is a reference point in terms of peace. The media should be credited for bringing it this far. Often a community democracy, sir. Ghana is still a reference point against the media.
President, what do you mean? One no. Ura Emmanuel Laye Kwabena Kwansa Edu. Eka sembi. Na me hwe se me hu wa ha. Me hu na ka me hu anka be me de pa. Say opokomso bi say yen hwe say a government a government without a newspaper and a newspaper without government ni mienu no le ohe na kaya also na ko be for newspaper without government.
That's the Jeffersonian Declaration. Former US President Jefferson Okan. According to Jefferson, even though we are titled the first estate, according to Jefferson, we are the first estate. Because we exercise oversight responsibility over the presidency, by parliament and signed by judiciary. In reality, even though we say number 4, but in reality, we are #1.
Because some new year now, say, Obi who say, "I confirm the car," and you do better.
Exactly. Say, Oman Penny can be been uncle year. Minister Bian to Minka, Osro. He or she will lose his appointment or her appointment. A civil servant to Minka, a coffee and phone to Minka. But the media, we have the power to hold him to account. and we are empowered by the constitution to do that. It is a engagement no here papa say for liberty Professor Soha, when it comes to liberty, we are the bulwarks of liberty. We are the defenders. Civil liberty and power, because there was a free media and civil liberty go together, and then both of them also die together. It is them Mr. Hedgemont the oil papa ne nyimpa. We are human. Some trophy say it's a hina some say here we are human. Internal constitution of share the framework of constitution no even though we are criminal code 208 you were a loss on causing fear panic
and so
you were even article 164 which imposes national security, national morality, popular restrictions on media. But at the same time, why is she here? Says Semtroni can't and 71 can year. He or she is obliged to put in a reminder or the compulsory reminder. Rejoinder. Until as some came and can ye. My chance sign. I feel so your national media constitution, also a creation of the constitution. It is it was a same or what instead of going to the court. The same constitution, instead of going to the court, go to the National Media Commission and your complaint settlement committee on which I serve. It is a assembly instead of going to the court. Na one come back, no time wasting. Go to the National Media Commission, a creation of the constitution. Now for one typical example, handsome show you big story about. Was a vigilantes being Ozo Castle. Na 1 year band, a bank could have used a coercive force at the disposal. And watch them some training now, and them a loss or he no be Iron. But they didn't go that tangent. What was the Assembly National Media Commission? All but was in lawyer, but National Media Commission, Assembly, and then Moya Mobun for. That is, I believe that's the way we should go. Let's say a Bibia say it's umbra court, or you end up jailing. Take time you jail so many journalists, if not all of them. Papa. More yes, Ghana is a rules-based society. We are under a dispensation of rule of law, and under rule of law. How about Tom Brands, which are beautifully on the other brown news? But at the same time, 1% careful. Only each other, we are more human and we are more Ghanaians than others. But the same constitution are provisions to settle side complaints against the media. You made reference to Code of Ethics. Yeah, our Code of Ethics states emphatically there. Also, the public had the right to free, true, accurate, balanced information. They have a right, no luxury. It says some Tonya, answer is that to be able to go and be someone there. Damasemi on Ukarana. Damasemi, also every issue has 2 or more sides. Marker the side. Into what in Kofuso Damasema for those likely to be affected. So seek their views. Until my easy assemble to go all the sides and the public will soon judge and for them to make informed decisions on the information you put across. But over military in Bon. Oh, we want to scoop our scoop. When you story, man, I'll be the first Mutuga. You have all these instances. But at the same time, say some training to Otumbra, I know can't assemble in a year. Yes, Ghana for. We have a mechanism.
Na adia sumdua ba ya baba ho no so esanse na nsen ya checheche nsantrofo bebibi a ho sama be deja wo Ghana ha no ya baba so pa kwa mo fa so che wo mo nsam mo kan no so deserve say kokwache wo mo ene de ka ho ne wo mo so aka nse bia bedu Ghana ha ya che wo mo ne nipa bia ya ma yo fo so mo so aka nse bia ya che wo mo so mo da so kasa ni nyina behwe ne ahwe ma mpanin so ono so na sama wo kan ye abibia be se ko bro ko South Africa at 2011 ye kan aye criminal libel law no and it's a publication of false news no man pena nado e ka say bi e fa ho ente brepam ne be ka wasem bra man be kro ye wurada ko so na bi sa say ye wurada ko ye kan nyina no eye mra ene ye de ye adwuma uko US say criminal aspect of publications wo ho and a civil aspect in wo ho ni mi no no na ye adwuma pa no na ma oman no da wubo e koso oman no obi obeka se bia no otumi ka asɛm a ɛbɛyɛ asɛm yɛ nokore na mo nkwankwa ɛsɛ bosirimuka.
Well, America mom dear make us a civil aspect. A private punishment ubenya for publishing defamatory information against someone no. And we juma more. Criminal part no ewo ho but a check and sign other state government and as a federal government abemu abe control near obeye ewo media space. Now opinion yet for yeah twemu krampo a enye journalist per na asem we say e fa won ho. Say obia owo social media account ebetumi a publish bibi na akọ the entire world. Sankrofo enso bebre ho no a won anko journalism school anko sua senior journalist eye na djuma na sometimes say obia wo sua obia djuma wa hwe ya unya ni ye unsua ni ye na outcome no so ebeye bad bebre ho no a from say we me a pocket lawyer so ko unya asem na akofa pocket lawyer no a say be wan ko law school no no agini hu dis oye lawyer no e ko gina court a
ubedam
e ko abefa so obedi sa ukofa medicine say omo dan so ema wa ubehu say medicine obo dan so ana say omo edan so a the same way professor ohodumi odi akokofa obi a onye professor so omra me kire ade enti meka kire bi sa money say enkrofo bebre ohoduma won wonye journalist ene won abeka madwuma no ho obi ohoduma wo a little following onyanya enipa kakra di na chi woni social media enti ohun ne ho say ono so ye journalist ne bi enti oputu information any ade across na won nyina baba ya fra madwuma no America say o committee o defame obi and I say o publish information na any writer ye hwedi kan eyesika edan na metumi aya ne oyeye menya ho sika na ma punish no ama ne pocket mu ahihye no na America na say unya asem na okofa lawyer eno eye eka a edikan if you say you're charged by the hour. Yes. And depending on the experience, over to me fee $500 an hour. And you would not work publish it, also a journalist, work publish it. As someone you are going to defend yourself. And you legal fee a car over. And sign as a woody for or a car over sign abo paying to the plaintiff. And you publishes anime. Why are careful? News media bit to set Fox News. Trump buy or my own crime won't publish a whole lot of information via any no crack. And now, wow, pen Google has how many lawsuits in a year against Fox News for America. Big and in so it is costing them a whole lot of money. Because of that, who here was about what I say. When you pass me see, I can be a family one and me report for criminal charge. I don't need the first part. The second part is the criminal aspect. Criminal aspect, you know, your federal government role and your state government role. For instance, publishing information, and I say state government, if let's say information where there, and here and they to me in school. What publishing news? Like I say, yeah, the bomb to subway stations, and then will be peer, no, be busy. That one, the state government will come after you because
Uka state government say change mu ye say state no state government Uka state the Ghana the next your my money na but America Uka state na kurupon me boa.
Yes, America no you have 50 states plus Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And Washington DC.
Okay. Inti state law no.
Inti state law no be
say Mantam say Greater Accra region ha.
Yeah, you know, Ghana, okay, America, no, for instance, New York State, New Jersey State, California,
America.
One in a cabum, no, America. Now, sir, I mean, district, you know, when a bit size of crapos to send Ghana. One, you know, Obia or not buying, you were governor, and one laws, a state laws, and some federal government.
Ayo o man na kasa so mra. It's your fan say Greater Accra we mra aso no man mra so wo ho
enso wo ho
Ashanti region omo de enti ni se obi ko kan se bi tie obi na se nya yi a state law no edi kan ye na adwuma ansa na omamu ni nyina so de
ababeka ho especially say wo federal part
emra ni modern
yes federal component wo mu a federal no so ebabeka ho na federal no na am say mu nyina mate you can say hey FBI for ba CIA for ba na say wo ho na say a fraud catch say who appointment with the FBI
hey
why here ya say who journalist no after that no won say anya den won say anya za de no kran po biem nti no depending on asem ko a waka any effect a ewo bibia be affect commerce interstate commerce federal government no wotumi so beba mu nti watumi a publish say bridgeway I cross New York eba New Jersey made the bomb akoto ho it is affecting 2 states and no federal government ebeba mu New York state government so interest ono so beba New Jersey enso beba mu na koye 3 sa punishment way any investigation no keke no crampo no enough ma nkrofo publish news one year very careful it make us say civil one no strong federal the criminal one no stronger but most of the time they don't even have to act because in the civil case no will take care of it but the major one issue kasiye no me person my cite examples because there are few examples of hand more a bit to me ama say a hormone the buy and federal government action
ebeba mu bi enti say there wo kan say in some be our state in the federal no you say abantie okoye WikiLeaks in some bi aha one say enter America for hwehwe no
yes
information no de koye no
yes
ayade e kan omamu ni nyina
sa pepepe enti a federal offense and a breach the national security of the United States enti the federal government won a priority over that and the actions no one year against one state for the whole nation and until today until 29 see America ho
yanhwe se obi ye bibi e ka bibi fo obi ho a e wo ho no na se ade no ya ade a hye onipa na se oya se onipa no e wo aban mu a in a way no okwan be so ne fa so e hye onipa no na se kwan be so ne fa so di onipa no kokot
okay American so ye will be a friend of whistleblower law emra no ma ho kwan se uye uwo bibi mo uye dwuma bi mo hu bibi a ekoso a enya utumi report to on the quiet won be your investigation who are report to ye no ye punish you eno no e wo ho no mo it is actions na we take ye no say towards exposing bibi a ekoso a enya emra no be protect you uye aban mu what can bibi a enye most of the time when we ban mu nyina so emram isi won kwan say information bi ho no ma untumi enkoka outside of the confines of your legislature and as a parliament typical example what is say we are part of parliamentary committee we decide say oh the government is going to do a project waha what leaks information and my family members say oh mun go ahead na mun ko stocks ewo aha because enche segment way eba betumpon that is an offense ewo America a lot of congressmen members of parliament are facing both criminal charges and civil charges for violating sa emra we say
bia yenya information mi say bibi say be koso aha enti ebusuafo no koye bi no
yes
and the Ghana had asem wa
sa pepe enti say we ye member of government na say okoka bibia etia federal law ye be cho ye be investigate you ye convict you you lose your seat
ye be cho ye dey him for na be cho
FBI never invite you
won be invite you
oh yes
okay enti say ye kan say bia ye kwakoche wa ye the police for call say police for na kasi gina we light ne tu gri
you see in America your police are horrible bebre your state police your city police your federal police it depending on offense ko our committee in a why and obecho so we MP member of parliament, we now here vice president, now here president. Now say we drive through one state. Now committed traffic offense. Ewo police anymore. Police officer no, or nobody no. Obechi we secretary of state. Emraman who can so chill. So what boom rano son kwa there. And it's a offense now here in a state offense. State police about chill. So me tell Ghana honey I say oh call or be a member of parliament. Now serve on with court processor or court I want to me or parliament I want to me. If you also bound to me, I am a straight. I am a straight. Every say you need absolute immunity no. America ho. You better serve. You better chill.
Or parliament no.
Ain't it? What committee crime? What committee crime until because we call parliament until go ahead? No, yes, I am running here. Yes, nobody is above the law. It's only the president and a man, a little bit. No crampono under the current decisions I want to make. You see, if the president takes a gun and shoots someone, are you saying it's because he's the president and you know, or you're free to kill? No, the answer is not so. Trump. You know, Koka so bet to me at the TV, air condition, at 12 in the window, my Bobby, Abo Femonia, Kono, Anyano. And the legal decisions and analysis about and say, Anyano cry, only sir, absolute power. No. And to be subject to restrictions one way or the other.
Don't me that say, now, yeah, can some part would see any some no can one. But to tomorrow, maybe if American Marason Babagan Amaraso. Just no come on me ya. Like I say, so obi fum obi a wo kwa wo mfa so edi asem no enye gidigidi na mo no eye boko na so no eye dan ya atente ne be ye adwuma ama so twa tumi aba ye fa ye de no toto mo de no ne ye fa say bi obi esa so wo mo ye sua wo mo obi aka asem bi na wo gidi sasem no ka ne nye no kore say bi onipa no eye penny oh baby me dey won name wa ho I'll show you power lights I'll show where power lights this is a make sure be a to me one kasa pa say dey na Ghana ha pa so wo hwe de omo ye omo de ni say dey dey ya so bi ye boni bi kan say na asam nya kwan ye fa so a ye de che no no what did you say ye de no ye say the speaker of parliament me ko tu no say eye kolo eye akeki so na say ye fa no na say dey na say ye tu me say omo na ye su o man pa ne ampa pa de ya
Mr. Tiaka said, Emrabiano works in a social context. Inti Emra Sebi, Emrano in itself, no. Senye, you see, Fadi Jumano, a Juma in society. Into the conversation of law, ni sociology cannot be decoupled. Inti yenti me Nimran komo a yendi sociology in komo. Tibia saying table where sociologists be on one, it would have been a very interesting conversation. One of the people like Mimi Susu said sometimes we're a little hard on ourselves because sebi ye hwe de bronia ya na ye ya kan manako ese sebi obroni ye nipa chen bibini but Mimi Susu said it sir Mimi Susu ye mu no there's a reason into our society works this way menka say ye but meka manako si say the law works in a certain way in our social context. The kind constitution guarantees say sebi answer the court be decide say obi aye boneno the person is absolutely free and I say you are innocent until you're proven guilty. That's the premise of the law. And I think it's the same foundation in all the common law jurisdictions. Inti sebi the fact that ode subona bomeno and say I am guilty of it. I want to say a court process bimu in order to establish that guilt or otherwise. Inti baby wa mindful for bino the fact that you brought the charge, there's still a respect and dignity of the person. There's still a respect to the fundamental human rights of the person until say a court process nimu to establish the guilt of the person. Inti typically Constitution say uchi obia 48 hours. Actually, best practice, invite them, charge them. They are innocent. The court has ruled. First, near say we are bonibia ye mao bill, just say a remandel. yenim say court has ruled say there's nothing like Bonibia intimate bailey. Yenim say 48 hours, the court has ruled say 48 hours. But in our part, no, because sebi ego and I say ye determine aben ya ho dodo to a point say ye chere mramu a ye de owo tumi no na chere de mra ne chere. So in interpretation of even what is likely to cause public harm, no, sebi de owo tumi na be chere say what is likely to cause harm. And I said, you want to mean a chair, what is a breach of public peace? Because the interpretation of these things has become subject to the persons in authority, no, sometimes deferring to the basics of the human right is fundamental. Because human right, ne fapim nyina se bi uye nipa, se dem ye nipa, se bi obi nsin obi, owa ban mu ne se bi meton ade wo kwan ho. And so ye na yentem ye nyina should be accorded the same respect. Inti buo any die and the basis of human respect, human right. Jaja from na make come na kosi question so na maka say ye ha no de eya touchem and say most of us and I say omo a say bi omo to me no. Sometimes maybe with a lot of social evolution yehu ne se enquire anase se bi obi kan se nyina etoka ho na be hro hwan de nti se me oka na so hro me ka me hu ne se service na o provide me hu ne se I am a place in authority more than you. So instead of according you the respect, even if I think that you are wrong against the law and respecting your human right as I prosecute the case, no e come I say enye ne sa nti I'll show you where power lies. Saying how can has become the order of the day. But I think that no, and yet more of law. It's more of our sociology. It's more of our social orientation. It's quite a first one. You teach you crow. Baby, you fever. You teach them and your history. You need pursue. All of those are, I think, more important. And I personally have witnessed. Say be wako baby. Abai muni. I was say onimumra say you can't torture anybody. Ubekoni ebu obi or police station. The question is, how do you do that? Kwabena I'll be first one. How do you ever justify say me a police in intima bono? Wakwachi for na Yahoo videos or social media na ubo say malhandling. So the point I'm making is say we need to distinguish the operationalization of the law no emranon ko na nejuma ne ye wo society mo no ko. Emranon is a tool for social development, but social development is a function of politics and sociology. Inti make kamana kosi no emranon wo ho, but emranon ye nyama mienu crime no and a guaranteeing human rights. In order to guarantee human rights, no, I would always defer say yembu nipa na yen guarantee their basic human right because America lawyer can the fact say ye the crime no and I say yakas why boni a ye court no one is going to abuse their human right. Well, there are some circumstances where the law will give exception, but run na exception there and then now running but it is not a complete abuse. The Constitution, for example, guarantees no censorship of a media. You can't tell be say men publish it way. There is absolutely no right of censorship. But the question is, the most important is self-censorship. Inti yes, obeka se menye, but say kramai, o de to no afa, o de to no afa. Inti kakra o fan to okra no be pafa. It's the same idea of conditioning. So how do you condition the climate such that me na se sebi ya betche me say false news? Publication of false news. Answer na mindi bim no. Na mada prison 2 weeks ah. And yes, I mean publish it.
Wouldn't my penny and now Dako Kufa Pretoria, South Africa. Na or University of Pretoria on the 12th of August 2011. Na Mampeni na nado ekasa ade afa false news no. Or can someone do be producers a mother one more move fan to a screen so na ya chef will feel so into me and shebi. Was say as the offense of publishing false news, therefore, currently, as it stands currently, it is, in my view, inconsistent with the constitutional provisions on free expression, being overly broad and accordingly not proportionate to the legitimate public interest sought to be protected. Ebio, as the offense of publishing false news, therefore, currently stands, it is, in my view, inconsistent with the constitutional provisions on free expression, being overly broad and accordingly not proportionate to the legitimate public interest sought to be protected. It's a family. Say yetumi hwe na yetumi nie fahudie na yetumi bua no ye ka asem no o se publisher of force no send the mum da ne hyehyɛ tie no emu tre ayehoyo ayebaya emu bai yehu ne ti hu ne na ma se no yehu se o fa na akọ o fa na aba fa na akọ o fa na aba fa na akọ nti na me de beba president so president se man peni tumi aka asem we ya den na ekye yen se no o mutumi nka se wo ka we ya utie na asem ya wo ka se ade ho you too red dodo red tantan say dem hu bi da na red pa ye nim say me kan red tantan ya na bia false publication news and publication of false news nti aye hunyaye nti yes and for do they blame us when it comes to this say ye be kan sim no be ka say bia asem ye kan yan kan yi meanwhile the man peni say ade ne mu ye tra emrani etra nti say me ka bi na sankoya why then do you blame me someone can pepper say me fa ha I didn't blame you.
When it comes to champion of human rights in His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, still stands tall, even though physically short, but when it comes to human rights, he's very, very tall. More cordon into the I am so overly concerned that the many is already during his administration. Now, we have a lot to learn from what is happening. Hen or Bimfo can be about journalists on training. We are sort of friend who journalists, and this is a huge concern. Now, in Branso, it's a article 163. Also, there shall be no impediment in the way of anybody who wants to establish a medium of mass communication. Until seven say a ton jane cry, and I say a shoe shine, let's say a newspaper, a newspaper, and a ton could be a newspaper. Brabia and Chonquan, you can do it. But America, let me borrow the words of Joseph Pulitzer, the famous American publisher and editor. So many years ago, about 200, 300 years ago, I say journalists are educated and not born. Then, Mr. Okanda Masem will try born, then from those days it was fashionable to train on the job. No, we need most of these well-structured institutions, universities, and church journalism. Into what trouble, please, papa, no random coffee. That was a knock carbon, 7 because I said knock because from school, I put through training, on the job training, and you become a journalist. If you hand our system crank of PA, why is in journalism PA on the job training, when you're on the job training? But the complexities of the job, what's the son? And more corridor, we are saying, yeah, so why into you need to be schooled, you need to be educated. First, as the media law says, Juma law because if you are ignorant of the law say instead you say Mrana, not you are. I don't want to share whether it's fair law. There's a need more than ever before. The general when you are training in media law, when you are training in other areas which impact on our job, other positively or negatively, there's a need more than ever before. Now you say million institutions for your what you ko ye until UTV say a UTV about despite nzina no asor UTV ko from you be ye including a na she honu ya ni mo ada institutions more
brave you na
what can you be soon as
ebinom 200, 300 a month. Even when we that no business assembly, we turn 350 a month where we see me see you won't turn a cow nti me ni manager kan kasa and I had to go in na bi no ho a won turn ka kwa in the worst case there bi no ho won turn ka kwa this is journalism for you nti about you become so vulnerable obi be ba oh Charlie the mazi oh yeah 90,000 up for and he or she but one does but until we need to tackle this issue more from the root branch approach in the air can the police fan or they should be a civil in the way they are regional but the root cause
say first a root cause no I say be a children planet kai and it's a kasam wo fam o wa ho kire mu na ekom so de ne bere nenam nti ya fancy bi ono no why hot you too le fie the bus school fees you be there den na so bi aka say Charlie who say ja Kwabena no special ice na me hwe so no so be green pop na me tun say e ntampi na wa yamwa na wa so no so de agum no nu nya na ni e sign o Charlie mi hu no o me ti o ka mi hu no na so makota na maka me carry no ti o me kana me question me bi say be the fan and na do say bia o san kan ye ho o see the problem with our current false news law is that it is more directed at mere expression and the state of mind namely fear and alarm which in the best of the world is difficult to determine two says asawono a mere expression so enti don't show me who no my enti no me kan keke sasima me can does it mean say me go nipa no finti no because so say e bi onipa ne pani no di brebi enti no esese e ma mrantie ene atwotwo wuro wo a mreti ne kurakura ne kas gidi eba na wo hwe baku bi okan ya eno so me de baba me kan no asem later say baku bi okan ya Janfa we na media no so ba wo so during the arrest one more day so jafo na yiko no man peni na do kase me about the ehu here say ya me yadwe ne koso pa ni ehwe say the way o arresting crofo no does that not fall under they are not kanu ana enti efa so bia ka bia ti say ya should it be say ese ye gidigidi ni deep soldier for police for soldier for dem police for kuretuo any casco jina gburi say say eye no say say ba
we are in a civilized society.
Yes.
Thankfully, we have a human rights superstar who is leading this nation. Thankfully, so in terms of freedom. What is happening now? I'm for no. These are questions. Now, are we going back? Are we 2 steps forward? 5 steps backwards and that we share last week share IGP over these issues. No say the honorary member of the Ghana Journalists Association. No say ni ye me shishine pa say police anytime police effect arrest. What is say watch some children tell watch na nagasa ni nua anane papa anane busuyi. He feels it. This is the extent to which the emotional disturbance unya, psychological, mental torture unya. Says Semchoni be watching now. But at the same time, he's on the obligation to ensure law and order. If you have law now 200 clause 3, the police have the right to maintain law and order. They have the right. But at the same time, the circumstance won't change. Some trouble on year.
For instance, I shall be aside the said must change the fire. Nipa call ye koche no according to sources no. Na nya dia one more a year once a police ni be so nya name tag wa ha. Na me say asemasi ni ene ne service number a metumi da here. Nipa koche no na se ne ma ni nyina hyeda eni ho. Enti no say ye hwan na beche no, say ye hwan na bebeche no. Car no so enye GP. Obi obetumi the GP number bi kura boka bi han keke. No the idea so yeti no there should be a proper identification actually say asimese na so dishi abintia or baba family me akoyi or you say so far in Central Fire chi wo mo I quite remember say Captain Smart do me so to me bubo ebinom din say inspector asimese sergeant asimese obo ebinom din but bobi de no ya sheda anti say bobi adin bibi potensa and I think city here from Abrante nso a wono so say okutwa Caleb de nso wono so nipa ekọ ho no utumu say unche da show so say asimese obintin as GJA as o men Central Fuku no would you say then na makade afa ho attention ba na ma draw because first one Caleb de ba ye no na din and asaya babio GJA pa dem pa na mo ye dia afa ho say na be ya say if so nipa na from say dem pa enkoko esa you say broadcast we say Rambo style arrest the dictators
ana animalistic disregard for human rights na me can animal you too in Asia IGP last Friday na she say outcome of the meeting there now she said police in here in the first place we established that nobody is above the law some for there say
sure
we are not above the law once they have unfettered access to microphone and now newsprint they be able to can more plenty how many times does Nanado broadcast to the nation but the every day we broadcast and the confusion tie hen we once obi say oh once a while as I can and now all the obuka table no chere no car this is the mental state of Henkofu P it's a me can okweje papa na IGP jitum na Henkofu Asia ni or jitum the na say we hia bia it despite for the was the one in it one show bia ha but Henkofu bi no ha won tija they blame Takashi journalism say what umbra kwa so we hear one was the invitation back far home penny photo
Absolutely.
na so okokwa onye ni bia ni editor ana ni senior man bi ana lawyer bi no wako and that to be a more civilized approach than this animalistic style that Rambo style and I believe we are making a headway but at the same time we need to find solution to what is happening. Now, in implementing the law, fine. One Bible quote I would like to put it on record. 1 Corinthians 10:23. Also, all laws are permissible, but not all laws are righteous. Not all laws are advantageous or beneficial. We have I believe the Bible you may not be a Christian and be a that is fine because Ghana is a free religious state. But I believe we can learn from this. You may have the law on your side, but in implementing the law, and it may not work to advantage. Yeah, I can say in terms of press freedom, DBI is the one who Ghana citadel of press freedom. Latest ranking, last ranking, latest one, Baba. Last ranking is it 30, the whole world. America is it America, Britain 33, 33rd position. America 44th position. Cote d'Ivoire 66th. Alata Nigeria 120th position. Ghana, even though first in from 27th to the whole world about 30th, we put useful. In Africa, number one is useful. But according to Reporters Without Borders, Ghana is one of the first 5 media systems which are satisfactory. Africa in 5 Ghana womb. The whole world 30th. Yapa UK hu yapa America hu yapa so many countries hu. Nti wacha but ombui wacha ombui minu ye waze oye nti mwa wezi no wezi nkone ma waka
ya ma ho ban na make maybe say wo wasema ha wo ba na film
me wasamba ko ka efa invitation I to me invite you be say bra police and say the SWAT team type ebaba be arrested. My kind of Ghana news more police were invited pennyphobia wa won se me ma me te kra na me am hye me me say dey we ensi wa America da say ya invite you say bra we say me ma it happen. Until sometimes your culture towards the police, no, and also determine how our police, no, ever respond to.
Kind of this time, they are one from far, one painful.
One no more,
yes.
But number two, America France one the SWAT team, echo arrested. One it determines a situation no be risky to police officer now call arrest in a life. One war team who on crying or yamba show. One work kata wanim kuta tuo ni ade. Typical example, one ko ready Trump organization I say for information. One the SWAT team na call ye. Say come bet me the one gentle FBI rather than a sign natural. But one we say be the reaction a bit to me aba police for na aba ho no so be affect one life and na bibia then they do that. Anti journalists name one way publish here is about say any Ghana penifo nyina say police invite him because that is the government. There's going to be breakdown of the law.
Nobody is above the law, including the media. Even if His Excellency he's under the law.
Obi Ashamra na sina sa yes central for me ba so pa na because no me pa watch. Na me nya o me ba so say some no koba na ababe si mu mpanifo no say GJ mpanifo executives mwa in central for when it comes to be central for call how mu a eyade a ewo ho a akwa nti me ba so na hwe na ma me kwa ba wa so ba wa what ya samu a ye kan ya police are inviting mpanifo bi MPs a ye ni mu omo a wo mu sem bi omo ka what you say ish ensam na no o se pa o to me threaten police ni direct say wo me ma o say ye nyina ye ni mu no o to be kasam che police ni o ye be ma no you do know etino politicians in samba wo mu kan no enye no na yenso ye timamufo yenso yenso twofo yenso yesuensuen esan say akwada sua pani nante enti politically no wo mo ne ye ni bi ka ho na a political system no ana ma yedun prempeso ye dure
okay Jacob na me da se na say aya ye ka say se me friend free baby a me papa e sha se ko omo na start podcast science na se na yenso yididi su kakra na de me bra enso e kan ye ya say America and Ghana no enti ye sua sa ehun say ayo we be say institutions podcast institutions ni na ene emra say emra a ye di bedi juma emra a echechire ye a me kan ye nti no say ye ka say ye declare national day and a national day of 1 minute of lawlessness. So 1 minute pe do be a person on ye Jacob na
semba
papa enti emra ehu hia enti na ye hwe America ene Ghana de bia ya Ghana for ka say uko America see de ye papa e kan emra na e wo hono no se de bi e ba Ghana hanoma asembesi enti de kan ina na say ensonson esi de differentiate here from America is democracy because some practice democracy well over 200 years. Yeah, there no am say ebro enti afa say enti over 200 no be hu say a che but still cramp more some weaknesses kakra or no more perfect democracy. Na so Ghana yenso de yesi yesu America enti bibia na America force no mo ye enti e ka esusu dua say ade a enema mienu pe anani na akra fans ye mienu pe na so we say the barrier between the American democracy and then Ghana's democracy because Ghana I can say democracy I say you su brofo Ghana is a gateway of democracy. Ghana is a hope of Africa. And it's also open democracy para Ghana. And it's say yeah right? And but nema we say is the attitude and mebra economy. Is the attitudinal dimension and then the overall architecture of our political culture. And the attitude no idea here pa. And say attitude no krameka say we trim compose suban no say na yete to say me Ghana ni we hu obi akwa America 20 years Ghana ni oba America system no sa na eti obeba Ghana hanom no bibi ho no mo a baller na orefi na ode wato atwene wo ka kra mpa obi ka say oh na we dey some fan tune so zoo lion for be ye nti e ko ope no ye attitude nka ya at least e ko America no ayakwa ko humbi no ye bakra na ye start change ehwe na so system na nkasa ebe suppress ye nti attitude no ka ho attitude dey ka ho pa eni ntina ama meba we politicians when dey omo ka no nti attitude no very very key and like I say it is hindering institutions yesu no na ama emra no ye adwuma nti nka be change yesu an kamera no be say emra no ye ma ye nyina nti America emra na ye kan nyina no or the beba ukasa say ne be yo we Trump crown power be say na be kasa because the rule of law works.
How do we change ours?
Yesu no be change here. They be change yesu na Jacob na it starts from the foundation, from the family, from the school, from the church, the agent of socialization. Because your leaders now was see no. I kasa or kasa say no. The reflection of how we are as people. And it's a right foundation. Obi because Ghana am I paying for no leaders no money there. Na fi aka say onso hwe onso suban. Because one na be start into dey bia student e chro ma ade SRC elections na e chro dem be bia no say who you su corrupt means because dan kakra so e na call no they are student politics into 20 say anhwa eno na de be call that's a political culture but American political culture and it's positive yen ka say perfect enti na mo edru be bia mo bibi e fe national interest say Democrat o say Republican o Sane man they don't compromise. So no na ya America. But Ghana no they be ho kakra the directive principle of state policy. I want to say the be bia na say the national interest. But because one attitude no enye ninti no and the other thing also is the polarized nature of our podcast system. Polarized based on party lines, partisan, NPP, NDC. Into no bit banker so the twem aban beba amafo bebre yeka into so politician be frɛ antina nansia DC be air question police officer but it shouldn't happen because onim say our backing be ohonom into journalists be ohonom ma the your president kan onim say the oye ne de enye nanso our backing be e ohonom because media na ankasa yes independent media no are now becoming partisan. Born ma we nim say we dey party we dey into okasa we dey chiritum my bamba e be yime obi krampo officer no cry ne hwana one hwe krampo cry you be victimized say oh ya ti say we say the on or ha adwen wa hapa nti one hwe krampo ne transfer with alcohol a baby cry asa wo na wo akra na otimi kasa ye we dia one hwe so ana ya ye obibi
eno tell bibi say dey ye kan no na enye wo mo ye ka leaders a ye tumi nka say bia leader na ye na me de menye esan say wono oye with impunity no shame so nkura say me so betumi aye esan so no oye ne ye nka no hwe a ade na me metumi enye bi enti wo mo bi nsam a wo mo ka wo mo mi ne ye a wo mo ye no eno nka ho bi na edu ba bi a ama say ye to be can say me a platform you so it's say and somebody what so onipa na ye so onkonko chu nipa na mra kra no onya ya nkonko na so e so okọ onim say de na okokoye no wan kan nya de an kese me koye o but to me be say konti okokoye eti say obi a ye pene na lawyer da ko ka say e no ma say obi na finifie na okọ parliament ya yentime no yemfa ne so call parliament no ote amasaman ye ton wache bi wo la pass wo ba bi nti o metwam straight in call parliament okofo wache base wo na wasifo akoto no wache ansa watwam afa ba bi akokoto specialize wo ba bi ansa na se bi o kotena ba bi adi ansa na bi wakọ parliament no processes no na ma so we do parliament no kra no enye straight away to parliament yentime nche no entu di say ama ebinum anya tumi bia ankan sese omunya eye na mawdo bi omoye anu ti ama sese no oboni ni die se de ma ye ho na enhye da ni hoyi
exactly and chano na make kan ya no ni na eba the foundation of rule of law. And today na yet say irrespective of who you are, you na emrano obia and share embro emrano. Inti me lecture about culture the Dr. Ponsa. Or say ye na yenim. Commandment ne ya. Ne say it's 10. No, say no, it's 11. I say the 11th one is thou shall not be caught. Inti do be a hwe na yanchew. Ye chew dia oho ebeba asemu. Inti the make no because enipa bebre apart from Ghana ade ba ko ene de e wo hono ma ye a constitutionalist ye can bebre with the constitution no how the constitution has given so much power to the president. And the president is the most powerful. It is constitutional. Constitution is not why powerful, sir. But you ever honor because president needs to not because no there. That's why president in no there. But no crampo. Law no. Actually say umbro. It's not freedom of expression or honor. I want public opinion. Because I want kasa
media
wasema okay wo hu ye be video kitwa bi ebra covid ba yi no Boris Johnson UK prime minister lockdown no wo sumo obi anko be obi anya yi e no ko party okoji nani na abufa abaya kitwa bi a o UK akwada kitwa mo me hwese do sika safae efa say papa prime minister etumi apie akọ party a wo so obi antena fie na akwada ketekete ye so no sika na fe na to say betumi aka wo sa Ghana ha na
Boris Johnson. Yeah. What?
Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister. He told everybody to stay at home, yeah? But in lockdown, the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, he just went down to a party in lockdown.
Did he?
He's really naughty now. So we had to go to the naughty centre and tell everybody that he's sorry for going to a party in lockdown.
Oh no.
So Boris Johnson, yeah.
Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
What?
Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister. He told everybody to stay at home, yeah? But in lockdown, the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, he just went down to a party in lockdown.
Did he?
He's really naughty now. So we had to go to the naughty centre and tell everybody that he's sorry for going to a party in lockdown.
Oh no.
So now he can't be the Prime Minister anymore.
Oh, can't he?
He can't go back to his Prime Minister home. So he's not a Prime Minister anymore.
Is he?
No.
Oh.
So someone else has to be Prime Minister, and there will be a good Prime Minister. But Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, is not a Prime Minister anymore. He's a bad Prime Minister. But if he's lucky, he can go back to his Prime Minister home and he can be a Prime Minister again.
Okay.
But we'll see tomorrow if he's lucky.
Okay. Tomorrow, okay, bro. We're going to keep.
okay no won so no sika safae no o se bra covid ne bae no Prime Minister Boris Johnson obi antena fie obi ampie but he Boris Johnson Prime Minister oh hwe se akwara ne se express no ho se no sika safae osa but so sika sa o kan do ba bi no say onye ne Prime Minister bio and because say emra no Prime Minister nan kasa say amanfo ni so no onu abusu nti no onye ne Prime Minister nti so be say Prime Minister no ko ni fie no ko tena ho Prime Minister fie boya akwada ye no saka Ghana han kasa me na nke beka
eje kwa na mame starting komo niama mienu the first one here the power distance the more I mean, you know, I've become extremely interested in the study of culture in a very academic way. Because Mr. Su said Emra is supposed to dictate culture and otherwise. In pure business, because the culture is strategy for breakfast. Into the culture and culture is a way you put decision making on autopilot. Inti some person being bibia. Say oma send your musutie ni send your moasetna. If you're able to affect the culture, Emrano would work naturally or otherwise. Into culture either aids the working of law or works against the working of law. One of the key measures of culture is what we call power distance. Sabi omo omo obi ni omo omo ni bi intem it's saying. And there's a very technical way of measuring power distance. There's a global study on different cultural templates. Ghana and Western Africa, together with either Asian or some portions of Western Europe, have some of the widest power distance you ever find. And the Accra way can find say ye course a John a ye enanka ye din komo we a ebi ade di kan ye de be hye nkra ye we do ya Accra nti em fan che no. But senka ye obi kan ni say a me sure a man for people had hesitations towards it. But the first point I want to make is say your power distance no is one of the things in our culture everybody who wants to understand the Ghanaian culture must understand. Mate say boss bi be catch us say mitu aka say be ye adwuma mitu aka say be dwene. Muti meeting aka say oh Misuzu say ni abuza say hwan na say wadwen ye bibi. Wo de ene say yes ye. And we in your president ni ministers asem we ye mene o ye mate or muti ye fie and as domestic workers in our house. How do we treat them? It's a clear function of the power distance. Say me wasro na wo forma. Some way somehow in our culture mitia o konso eyeye. Almost sikani bo wasuma e yamfane nkoko to tiaka. Nti o yiska na no de ahwe wasuma o de eje. Nti the cultural orientation is such that there is such a wide distance between powerful people and seemingly less powerful people. If you are in the bracket of the powerful, because the culture, yes, it's sikani yarea, hiani ne koheno. Say hiani yarea, or chairman ne hoton no akoche sikani. Because in our minds, sika any to me does not descend in a way of kindness, in a way of respect towards the younger.
What can say be say obi owo to me no ono de ope na oye. But on my mirror so chere say obi aso she mra.
You see, Jacob na make an emra and so why are we struggling with the law? It's because the cultural template is fighting against the law. In two ways. Obefa no akasa emra ni say I will beat you into submission. But the moment you begin going that way, one here, if it's endemic and as a sign a tear or mining, one here I'll bet you will be atom. The other alternative is you find a sociological way where you can affect the culture and then a mano would fall in place. And that's the first thing I want to make. Yet we're struggling with the implementation of the law, which is a good thing because sometimes the cultural template is fighting against the policy principle of the law. But the atoso mienu here. People will do anything in survival mode. If the person is in survival mode, say the person is in clearly survival mode. If Sebi na Jane and Aya Jane is motivated by pecuniary interest and as I say menyeska woma na minim say menyeska na I'm in survival mode. Forget about the law. People will take the risk with it. I'm not saying it's right. I think it's actually wrong. But two things, if we can affect our culture and can affect the economic dynamic of the society, a man would work in a way we all would wish that it worked better. In the Accra way, the conversation is how are we training our kids? Uko fie bi mu na Accra kasa, yese panyin ka Accra nka bi. Accra, we define Accra so omwa when he's able to speak or ask questions. Accra bisa and say bebra, wo de bia no na umwa de na panyin ka na uka bi. Because we train ourselves to think that there is a power distance. We are penya, you have a certain right that Accra does not have. But the Constitution, one of the fundamental things of our Constitution is human rights, which guarantees the dignity of all persons. Until the moment I say the foundation of all the laws sits on the dignity of the human life, and we can guarantee the dignity of persons, the law would work in a way such that the culture, and I say Yesubino, would work against the law. Until they must work together. But to get the MRA effective, we need a cultural dimension. How do we get the culture working? The agents of socialization, and then we can have a long. But that's my initial take.
Okay. Okay. Kitwe bi na fe.
Me fa kitwe bi de me bra eken law no. Nti say institutions no. We have formal and then the informal. So formal and the yatro a constitution na yatro aton ma yenim say ene na yedi bu Ghana eso no. Ene what the informal. Informal no so emra a ye ntroye. Eni bi say ebia minimu wo spousal relationship and I say tribal relationship. Owe dia mene na eco old school. Enti me koye managing director kra na say ana ebia me police officer. Na hwe na say oh de koye dia we dia mene na eco school. Ana we kran po me busuani o. Enti ani nti no obeja de mrane ebeye no se onye no na wa hwe the informal rules na mebra eka no. Enti akwala say typically the akwala na aka no nka Ghana akran pokra no aka so a obi beka say oh we say ebia ne mame NPP ni ena ne mame aka hye no say onka because akwala na aka nti no untimi hodi akwala no responsible we say oh say bre say nti na eka say that political culture no nti akwala ketu akran po hu say ne mame ya dia enya obetimi afre police papa ehun say akwala no me hu say o this scale ba fie nanso me hu the source of we sit down but enu ono ha no obi kran be kwa asori akwada nyame ase say ma but obroni no obeye investigation say ehfa na onya osika no ohwe na say illegal ono a free police so mo be fa ne ba enko be ha no betimi esi
ntumi esi
nti na
for message bi aba na ba ko ha na making kan no ansa na mama lawyer ba na Mr. Kwabena na me bisa say ya fa ne say ya chi obi say onipa ne ya chi no no ana say susu say wadi bone waka se bia enye na ya to nsafre no na ode state institutional where ya mandate ya man to me say wono na wonhwe ma emranya adwuma no onipa no say onipa say nipa say yankoko say yeku wo mo there sa institution say mopa say mopa say eno no I undermine eku akoye num say the broadcasting be bana na obi the message be bana na mensa be pa cha otie ye pa me refer to ye man penny na nado dan kwaku fuado about asema ye kan ho ono ne stand ono ne gina bre say man penny de to so mienu say oye obi okun e de ma amafo mutete of found die so no ni susu ye e wo false publication ho no eno e na ye ka de da toto ahwe say de onu susu no enye no na ye papa se ni ye party na mensa o message that for Facebook by say I should stop referring to president and I'll continue referring to him. It's an say. This summer working in an A and somewhere you should see the two one. Their work and the year Juma and no one chance said ye and ye no ye ana. Sir, oh, they are not two chance what ye can criminal libel law. My pen nanado, one no attorney general, na bresso, and ye criminal libel law no edi free ho. It is no can be their be a year force publication of false news and anything that goes into criminalization of free expression na sefo as see to me atwem krofo adwene edisi so party na mensa me patcho anu nti na mensa kin kan bienu kura ka ho nti me na say Nana Godji or say good morning. Our attitude can be changed when we have a good leaders. For example, how can we keep Ghana clean when you walk in Accra? When you walk in Accra, even in front of the Jubilee House, you won't find any dustbin. don't they see dustbin around the street when they go to USA? I say, Missa, your person can clean. Now, see, no more. Even Jubilee or Koranamwa, who dustbin back crowd. Richard Adomako say, the child talked without insulting Prime Minister. Yes. But in our case, he will insult our leaders. Namaba Livingston so also just our culture frowns on certain things they accept. We should also value ours and not think that whatever these white men do is the right thing. It's true. Kojo Daniel say Agya Kwabena, the problem of we Ghanaians is the fear in which the clergy, imams, pastors, chiefs, etc. sensitize us when we are growing up. It is always a taboo to disrespect the elders. Meanwhile, the elders are the ones doing the wrong things. And tina meba edi abesi we so say atem didie. Obi to be bu na nka say wonam na wonam wa na ukohia party A na party B ni ukohwe sabonsam na so hia party A na party B ni a san wachi sabonsam no ono na wahu no odipa de se ntu bi na no wakasa man panya sem bi okaye tie nie pa me san maso bio na sem bi okaye about saa de American ya ni sem okaye ba kunie ba ko ha yen kan no so enka ho I say but then there ought to be a direct causal link between the false news and the injury sustained. The manifest example is the typical case of a mischief maker who cries fire in a packed cinema hall when it's obvious that this will lead to a stampede in which persons are likely to suffer injury, including extreme cases of death. It's no one himself na someone can no enya no kore enti yehwe asemwa efi ye mpanifo bi ano eba and somewhere efi bi no ma ye betu abo bebre and we person ko say and we share we for we for bodua body team we ya we no ya bonsanfo we no ya we say eti no eno no wo de toto ho a eje bibi esesafo no nsaba mo ka no Emma hoyo mama enimu. Emma fear panic emma. Emma injury emma nipa na wokasa for mo no. Emfa how be emma. I say to be kasa safo no kra no. Okwa bi say to me twa so.
Agya asema og bisa no ye 100% on point. Yedi kan make comment briefly about sa akola ne video no. Ghana ni akola be kan ye so sen ni akola we kan ye no. Wo de obi anfa camera ene mic na on interview nkola nketoa. Your program be where US children says the dandiest things. We interview on about any topic. One can one dream. A bit me aba, or bit me can more than this. And a big program for any year say your dream say a bay ye no. And see, more my underestimate young Ghana and Colana in the first place. But second, the issue of senior and Crawford kasa any one Emma society no more yes no. Mijidi say the current IGP must study no kakra ewo near oye no ho. And part of it, me catch me who say because of say other methods probably didn't work. And no can hunti na ma waba we no or per se ye did some sanity eba system no more. And remember typical example, prophecy sir as of no make it at the end of every year. So obehwe mu a fear wait 31st night. Ghana for story on the first happier than the year before because sad threat of death near the bebre no amma to say near na previous times ever. And I think it's a public order issue. And so otwaso sa kakra and see aso for crime. So on benyo we juma. But the public fear na eba mu no. And also the same thing. So-called celebrities. Majority say we take one or two actions against one so me a celebrating tea. Media near me pay enemy to me here. So man who say Ghana emra wo ho, it's just that we are not enforcing it. and I'm going to enforce it and also the discipline
and that's when they become a populist arrest.
Some pepe. But Oshemwa, na enema to aso kododo and ubisa ho say yan take step back and put a stop to this. Ebedu baby no Ghana will be like Rwanda, mrana Rwanda war no stimuno obi say radio so na otia monko ha tutifo ho monko ku.
Exactly.
They use the media, the social media, the radio and to cause that type of carnage war Rwanda and other places. And sana would share tanya a bit more transits no air corner ebedu baby no enye emayen into there is a need for Ghana to sit down to say social media ne ho at the time of 1992 constitution.
Exactly.
American constitution na social media ni ho when they were writing it. But and say due to COVID-19 any misinformation about COVID-19 mu ebinum say eya no kre enye no kre say American state ni na pass laws to deal with misinformation and fake news. A new phenomenon aba sana first no asem secret poa before ebe travel from Accra to Kumasi na hours kakra ebemu say there enya see ya within a twinkle of a click na assembly do ho. And if it can cause so much havoc in a short time, I see who say and then maybe I can say oh nipa way I say ebe do baby dey bet me aka bibia ebe so bad so one who be react immediately towards it. My example of the stock market. Ghana, we are building the stock market and other things. Ghana, we are asking for credit from international community. When we give bad or fake economic news, so anya na affecting right away, affecting at the international community. Part of your constitution also gives us the responsibility to say yama Ghana reputation and na yakuma so. Inti nema ni hold my yakan wa hana mo a sa hana mo mpo na affecting ya affect Ghana reputation. And I will be as na crow there or mind their reputation and no na affect yan standing in the international community. And ma obi hu say remember be invest e wo crow so ana me invest. Inti sad news ni nyina no affect yen one way or the other. But when we were outside, no to cry na tie near air cost more, and I decided what is happening. By next year, Ubehu and other countries I establish against misinformation because of near SC war corona time. And then many can say UK won't ideally, I mean they are trying at least 506 social media or journalists for fake news. Mexico, I imprison and for. In fact, they have something called Twitter terrorist. I will post to a name on Twitter. You are arresting, you are jailing. Oko Kenya, they have passed similar laws. Oko Brazil, they have. Into a war, Bibia Esifufro, and they are responding to it. It is a Ghana if we are going to think, say, because there was so much press freedom, into some issues way and fire one. Na ya nyahu bibia ama ya at least wa the news not to honor. You're responsible. Na hu say na okay, why investigation? Code of ethics for journalists. Mr. Money, iridi here. Or sis make sure say news now the to honor no correct. Why investigation in the news and cause so too much public fear and panic. Nitietia no.
Asem we man penny na Rodan Kwakufu Adoka 2011 or can say be Nana Mensa beside repeat Mensa refer na do bio na wetie. I say the more fundamental question, however, also can say US because of COVID in it was shemra. Kenya a man who do bebre na say by next year no amada even this year po am who do bebre by shemra. And for social media and fake news in as a form. Tina man penny na Adoka 2011. Also, the more fundamental question, however, relates to the constitutional validity of the law. Given the overly broad and sweeping terms in which it is couched, it may be very well legitimate to have a law that criminalizes the deliberate publication of false news, likely to lead to personal injury associated with the fear and alarm the false news causes. 2011, and I man pen another dan Akufo-Addo, I can say me, I will Pretoria, South Africa. South Africa of the Mai. Eti ebran so see bibi eti sana.
Of all the statements now coming from the president, I agree with almost all of them. And when you read the 208 Senamika and publishes or reproduces, which is likely to cause fear and alarm in the public. He pointed out to something very interesting, which is the incident of the act. In criminal law, the actus reus, they are any the state of mind they are the chrono. Crime. He says that the effect of it causes fear and alarm. How are you going to measure the fear and alarm in the public? But you must prove it as an element of the crime in order to sustain it. And so when he recommends that the law was broadly couched and such its implementation, and as a would face challenges, I completely agree with him. Now, we can understand, say, in protecting public peace, I was saying Nyambra, because say now can there can 1 minute of lawlessness. They will also near the part. In order to protect public peace, I'm sure say Obia Otieni said there needs to be some laws that regulate public peace. But I would say this again: if we're making an election between civil liberties, which is the fundamental human right, and the nature in which these laws are operating in this broad sense, say you want to mean no the likelihood is likely to interpret it in a way that it can be used. It can be used in a way that is seen to drive people towards censorship. Then I would always err on the side, say, civil liberty should be preserved. I would always, because the freedoms can be bad, it can be good. Sabi, the fact that we have press freedom in Cheso but in guaranteeing that freedom, no, over the risk of the abuse of that, compared to the curtailing of the civil liberties and the freedom of expression, I would always err on the side that the freedom of expression is paramount. Because the attorney say ekoye kabi mean to mean kabia. We've lost the foundations of democracy. Until now, it's not about it's about the rule of the tyranny and the powerful. Until the obeka fundamental, not the obeka final, without any right of questioning by any person, then we're losing the foundations of our democracy. So in a philosophical election, I would always choose democracy and the freedom of expression over even the risk of erring. But having said that, Ebeka said, specifically, if you're not likely to cause fear or harm, let's detail the specifics. Let's be very specific in the nature of our culturing of law, such that it's not subjective to the person in power. Because criminal law, one of the philosophies of criminal law, it has to be definite. Say I said me too before, make me I can say, oh, we are watumra. But in this statement, it can vary from anything to all the way to everything. Yes, specific. We need different laws, and I completely agree with the statement. So we need a more specific law that regulates, in a way, public peace, not freedom of speech. There should be no law that curtails freedom of speech, but we should regulate public peace in a sense that Asama Obibeka would affect public peace. The person will be liable and responsible for their speech. Exactly. But we should never think of the fact that people are abusing it. We should say, yeah, that's not that I say we are inclined to say, oh, we should curtail public speech and freedom. We should wake up from that dream because that is a nightmare.
Okay. Agya Kwabena, nyame kuma ye your put chewa and say so be sorry no ka say mo pass A-level law customs for ebe cool versus wo pass A-level law military for ebe cool looking at the immediate countries around West Africa, anything you're cool, I started to your car say customs for every year cool, far off. Say, no reasonable person would think say you can affect the public. But no better say
military no.
Ebe
say military for the cool yenim.
Sir. One so one year around Rollins, Sankara, Burkina Faso, Ghana near, Mali near, way near. Now so make it that comment now. Who distinguish between the two? About put immediate do.
Me that's it. Etiansha, Bawa, yanko political, you know, say politicians are. I also do baby. Even because I know yaw. One Obeka Samna, my ISS sabi, or you're so untouchable. We are saying. Would you say, sir, post channel some politicians? Equemo magane mono. Can you come in, Mammy Cabino? Share, and I say, I see to me. Ye bibi wo so omo no mu say everybody is not above the law.
Oh say you can say theory ni dey you can o you be kan but say ba say you implement na you practicalize it you fa nye adwuma hono na challenge no ewo edinti na a whole that concept of free speech and freedom of expression no papa bi a friend we Thomas Hobbes our English philosopher. Oh no, they are not also democracy there on pekra. Adeba ko party on pay democracy freedom of expression. Or say poisonous. If you say na all can in context. And he say o say obia en ka bibi keka. Or say about distract the OD or minus so no. And we just the baseline. And your politicians yi Ubeka conclusion baako is the rule of law. Because our backing onim say in Tiama society no yehu nipa yehu say nipa we no office na owo no the authority is invested in the office but not the person. And I say yehu no because oh me na me chief director wa hanom. So Ujimia no threatil because even the president no authority now and yet to say President Akufo-Addo office
as a person.
Yes, because into a free swap on so be ordinary to say me be just that or some privilege to say Kufuor His Excellency our honum sebi yeah nyame fa ne cry nsi Rollins no so we could do baby crampo cry na afi whole Rollins no we say we to say oh the backing dog afi whole Rollins so na afi sebi ono ane party mu cry no na omo say oh we there oni say bia biem ha enti say emra ne adwuma ne ka say to say ne we IGPA ECC no na me say me pe one challenge e be involve to say obi a oye celebrity for any omo de na ma hwe obi so oben aban mu kakra na hwe so obetimi ayesa na say why neutral and be o start chi we spiritual ministers of state no and I who say eh na probably the whole spiritual minister of state pan na o chi chom we there obi a oben president ko be bia oben no so obi ono ma we because prophet no ama ya ye Christopher no sometimes ye di omo ya kakra say we nyankopon ehye nkoma nyankopon ehye kom say we be wini we be lusu na we wo party we enti se si ano dampara ma ye hu say enti asa Ghana for ne hu say yes separate yes we know the police institution no executive no of which the president is the head and you know any judiciary and say parliamentary the enforcement of the law is the implementation and organ or implementing law no the executive in the executive no specific institution police and edu baby yes separate police no and free aban no kakra and yes abia to say the politics of language aba ne nti se nipa no nti abo nya kra DC se bi o NPP ni nanso dan pare ma ye den ko fa no say bra ya ma invitation nti bra enya se obeka say o de o ye president o na o ne president eda ana we nti se ma oman no loss no ye adwuma omo be ma loss na ye adwuma no unfortunately ehu omo say omom na omo ha oman no ebi say we de o che no hododo nkwa na o ye IGP
eba na o ye we mo so ankasa so ne ye nka obi na mana koduru ba bi edu
yes and I make answer on say ya bi muka say populist o ka say o person onye popular bi ntina o ye say be o be hwe the import of what the person is saying is doing the action no is it in yes omo ka say obi purely populist ono self-centeredness nti ono person onye popular nti de obey bia na waye na ehun say oh because Ghana no say the good thing crampo say bia we we nim say o party A and our party B we ya de no crampo enye no but once our party we no obehun say we dey on na good nti ye to abama no crampo kra on the obewi ni
okay
nti ye say hwe na rule of law no ye fa emrani enye ejuma na obia enye we
me dance pa you rafa money you say ye na eduru ye so ye asem na da apaso between politicians ni kan bi na so tum say ye de na ba na ye hu pa say no DJ adia pa ne na bomba pa na mutu se de be ya de ekoso e betumi ahwe ye mfa ne se wo mu a ye nuanom a ebia yesusu so mo kan ye no anko ye nti eto nsa fra mo ene kwan ye do ma afa so ne nema no mu ne wo madi nkomo na se mu ne wo madi nkomo a ugiri se edam na ne bomba na gigi mutu se de be ya nsantrofo so do ba bi a ye mbambo no aya na nko ye sa o ye mbambo ye nyo bi nkan ya asemo ma yen enti ye obi de ba ye nyabre na yaka na asema sisi na so yakasa de ba ye nyo bi nkan ma yen yakasa so ese ye kan ya asemo no so a ye ntumi nkan ne yie na hyehye ye ho saa enti ede ne mo ye de aboa as executives
ansana them a achichiri of torture this chain of arrest in Rebecca there was a case between Agya of MPP na Sechua of Aduma FM na DJ 200 a far lawyer is my Sechua we followed the case to its logical conclusion. Agya was fined civil aspects, the criminal aspects of Budo. And see, maybe I'm a DJ BBC, we only issued a statement, not at all. This is a typical example. We obviously, I say, first of all, we had press conference, and then we went listening our concern. Your man lawyer, a Sechua lawyer, Samson, and others. Did they be our frackets in a year? We follow the case. In fact, in your bound into a 1-2 more and check and pass it as other cases. Until we follow the case, and Agya was fined. This is a landmark case. There was another example. Modern Ghana journalist in Kofu to be watching one. And also promptly, with urgent promptitude, 2 and a month, a man lawyer. Will be sound about law watching one. But also watching one, share a tracker, watching the mode of arrest if one knows all the time, which we spoke against it, and a national security who there 1 year, they have chewed more than they swallow more than they can bite, or bite more than they can chew. In the one, the case is the case, them cases, we Jimmy cry. Into we ye hamful with it, but in painful say it to a Jamal for the moment so say to for and coffee bin they so addicted to Takashi journalism. Be I'm the man a cry on tape. It to for cry on output to the phone no with trouble. You can imagine no more times I want him for now with trouble him just because you make an attempt to even caution them. You be on the front of you the flimsiest of cautions. Though Charlie Yenny basically con Shady Charlie Bacon because it's Yambra make a kind of your pronouncement offend the law. A can't the man as I won't pay what's and some a few of them are into mercenary journalism. The world it has an agenda, and such agenda is far remote from journalism. Just to achieve something NCB once or but or can't you and I can't and work with beer. Until we have a principle say, on Saka, some church cora, no Saka in until Yaka say a more cocodunya, yak more to Muja, and a yes, a weekend. When it comes to arresting journalism, one fear the more because say one of the factors I want to share world peace freedom rankings in there would be sir. Simple question. Sanche, you be that Fiadiana. Is there any journalist in prison? How many journalists have been arrested this year? And this has all the factors that what was a rank. Was the rank. Until straight pay more kind there. In the very rare circumstances, or there watching some church say so autumn bra article 162/6 or we should force them or can't be been a year. We should force them to retract. We should force them, to effect the writing. As a National Media Commission mechanism or complete settlement mechanism or let's maximize the use of this mechanism more than resorting to a law court because court is awkward. It's a different book altogether. Jen Kadesem Trophy were more Ghanaians than all others, but the implication of arresting one single journalist. So watch a Abronia. International media will not make it an issue. No. And I work on other citizens in Wakatabantua. International media will not pick it up, but I'm a swally ni assassination. Look at the international furor. Look at over Ghana, the whole country's democracy, the whole country's media reputation. They are all at stake. Until yes, I think yes, Strahon. Musia Wakaka. One other issue we need to look at. We need to take a hard look at maybe a hand for a before a being for no one. The ownership structure of the media. To say yes, what is happening now? Politicians, what by Bema, NDC MPP, what by Bema, or make sure they don't when you're more TV stations, more radio stations. Obandama, them stations see. How you wanna see your friend who could bring when you want to oh, most of who pronounce my program and you were too hard on this party. I say, a them not pen. But let me say, neither this is not to flatter him. We haven't had any single complaint about Dr. Osekwami interfering in how this station is run. Okay. We have evidence to prove that. But in other stations in Nura, if you want more pen or ye, also me pay a demonstration one come for MPP or such a be also one come for NDC or go hard against them. And that is not journalism. Until you for the stress, say what you wanna, we feel it, but at the same time, don't fall easy prey to some of this arrests and a bad incident.
Okay, yeah, that's it. With the president and West, you're Sima Bakupe, Futu Benade Maye, na ye sorry so.
Nyama can say constitutional right of freedom of expression. Say mrano mai who can say beka ne o yakuma so no. E wa limitation. E stop wo ba bia obi nso e wa right say unfa asem anya no kure ento no so. Unka no ho asem a wonim say enjoy ne reputation. Enti wa owo medium say obe express wo ho no. Aya o express wo ho a kai hu say obi nso right e be start wo ba bia o ka kosi. Na unfa enkonko cross so ono so ne right. Yes, Ghana nyina ye beko yanim.
Let us see. So far, 1 minute.
Bible mu o se ye mai kasa mranyam. To say nchini ye mai kasa nye de to say nchini de nchini wo mu. Na ye mai kasa ho mranyam. I think say obuo medase na me pa cho enkum nipa. Eye nipa ye. Actually Proverbs say near Okasa, the one who has the choicest words saves a day. And I say by wise words you calm people down. Kasa mu na nkwa eni owo. And if we understand the distinction, say in Kasa, ye chichiro maya na ye bo maya, we will pay attention and understand say omai no nyina we in Kasa emu, and not trivialize nema ayeka, but ye be ma adwen ni nimdie ni nyansa akom. Meche sunyane for next week. Sunyane Technical University. Yeah, TVET campaign bi. Nti meche abusan for ni nyina.
O nyina dase. Bawa me dase. So nyambre ba ya. Ana wo just some kitikiti be twa to.
Oh, say ni dey, yes say o sha say no o to nyom. Na nti Ghana for ina so say ehun say. Yeah, Christopher no. Say president for so omonyom say asem biara meka. Ene adibera me na say
Bibisa Yesu say.
Eya na. Nti aye nye Christopher so no. Na ehun say de beka na aka say constitution no so. Sa na eka na. Nti esa be boy na ehun say Ghana no your mind ba ko pe. Na de hia ne asundwi. Freedom of expression enu bia na ye wa ha no. O ye kasa nti obi biara. Nti obi antimi be ha me. Enka wa ha na ye ka bibi de a na be de ka na seditious no. So be bibi ede oman no ebe butu oman no dia and there we can compromise intention ano ka say ye na de be no na ye change esuban na emboa ye pi.
Me da say last message ba ku bi wa ha. Obatampa Francis CEO Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company. Good morning. Or say good morning Agya Kwabena. Mami, how do you? As a good man, indeed, some politicians may be arrogant, but call a spade a spade. Today, 90% of the media, whether electronic, print, or social media, are overtly and covertly funded, aided by some political and business gurus and tycoons. The issue of vested interest pops up. Some media practitioners also think they are above the law, and as their paymaster can protect and above the law, as the paymasters can protect them. Let's look at the fundamental rights and freedom and tell the entire Ghanaian society that our guaranteed freedom and rights are not absolute, as there are responsibility to be observed. I've been a social critic, radio and TV personalist, panelist, a newspaper editor, and a prolific communist, but never disparaged anybody. Let's take care of Bantapa Francis CEO Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company.
We did Jacob
wahala for me to my kind to
Jacob na we dem pacho. Na me ka say Ghana kra me. Na de na de bia me see 2022. A me dwe ho pa no say parliament be ko na LGBT ne ma no ya pass law. They free honom kra. Na hwe no na
that never ban me friend no abani aka ho asem.
You topic way.
Enye no ho ne be kan wa.
Na me ka say no kra na be pa.
Owura Alfred Money eye GJ president ye so trofu ko ba to Ghana mu no wono na eye dwam tirani Iram da se pa se onya bre na obaye na afi eno achi nso pani otimi nsani fa so yi ayi owura Eric Ocheredako o lawyer ni America mamu na wote o practice law no America na some practice o Ghana ha immigration lawyer papa one otimi ni fa so no bi se meko New York o se mami nsuru nti obechata fight amame me da na se na afi ya sompa aye dua kwanta de se kronkron wono so na etimi beku so chirichiri ho no na afi Joseph Bauer, a political science lecturer at University of Ghana, Legon. Ebada must say munya bre ebaye. Na na no pay so ebi no birthday ti madama. Mo mi hwe na me wish you me. Nana Ekwia Asantua Esther ene wa woda. Enti happy birthday to you Nana Ekwia Asantua Esther. And afi me nua pani na when I was very young 1990 there about 91 there about no. Na oya custom officer. Owura David Anna do not from Casper. What dance man say enti David and Casper me more happy birthday pa me no so do birthday ne but obviously I'll pass by this evening me that's pa na and so ye coach bi enti lawyer Kwame Champong lawyer Kwan Boatin me mo ache pa na fi Richard Boadu me nua Richard Boadu rich me mo ache na David Dankwa Kumasi me se wunyina mo oche bi Yakopon ya do am so ma ba bi me di e di Agya Kwabena me se oman ne ye ba ko pe eye me e no wo ye dia se ye ya chechire oman na a wo be chechire ma yen na so kyekere so a on kyekere ne sade ya me ne wo no ye pɛ no obe kyekere ne sade a wo pɛ ebe wi ase no ya ye ya de hye no ye bɛda ne nkoa empare ye se bɛba se ye wa Nyankopɔn ya adom a da se ne bɛsɛ hyia yakra mo